In this video, we will take a look at the brave horse who saves his master on the battlefield. Chetak the Brave Horse. It's an unforgettable tale of a man and his horse. This story comes from Rajasthan, a land that is part desert and part mountainous. The many clans of Rajputs who live in this inhospitable land are as fierce as the sun that beats down on them and as strong as the Aravalli mountains that run along the state's eastern boundary. They bring color and life to an otherwise barren land. According to traditional literature, poetry, and songs, Chetak was the stallion of Maharana Pratap, the king of Mewar in Rajasthan. Folk stories describe Chetak as what, today, would be considered the quintessential Mewari horse. He had a long face, expressive eyes, a neck in the shape of a peacock, and ears that curled and touched each other at the top. His coat had a tint of blue which earned him the name of Blue Horse in some epics. Personality-wise, he was said to be very similar to the king, aggressive and arrogant. With a mind of his own, he only submitted to the Maharana. It is said that Chetak was the one to choose the king, not the other way around. One of many stories telling the prowess of Chetak involves climbing a 10-foot wall and breaking a leg, from which he recovered. The famous Battle of Haldigati was between Maharana Pratap Singh leading the forces of Mewar and the Mughal army led by Emperor Akbar's general Man Singh. Maharana Pratap Singh was on his favorite, faithful and obedient horse Chetak. The Mughal army was on the way to take Udaipur, at the heart of Mewar. Maharana Pratap and his army stood in a 1-kilometer mountainous pass in Haldigati in the Aravalli chain of mountains. That pass was the only route for the Mughal army to reach Udaipur. The Maharana's army was vastly outnumbered and the battle lasted a mere 4 hours. The Mughal army was numerically superior, while Maharana Pratap's men's morale was at its peak. During the fight, the king tried to kill Raja Man Singh, the commander of the Imperial Mughal army, who was riding an exceptionally big elephant. Chetak, wearing a mask of a baby elephant to confuse the enemy, charged Raja Man Singh's giant elephant, putting his front hooves onto his trunk in a bid to give the king a chance to throw his lance. Unfortunately, Maharana Pratap missed and ended up killing the elephant driver instead. In the process, the elephant's tusk went through Chetak's back leg, causing an injury. The king, too, was wounded. His closest aide took the crown and, wearing it on his head, galloped away to mislead the enemy. Chetak took advantage of the diversion to carry his king to safety. He was only on 3 legs but he managed to jump over a 25 feet deep river. The Mughal soldiers were chasing them. The brave horse labored on and managed to give the enemies a slip and took a final leap over a small brook a few kilometers away from the battlefield. When he had covered a big enough distance, Chetak collapsed and died under the weeping gaze of Maharana Pratap. The story inspired millions of Indians over hundreds of years and became emblematic of the loyalty. Chetak continues to be celebrated by thousands of tourists every year who visit his memorial, Chetak Samadhi, in Haldigati, which is said to have been built on the exact spot the horse died. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button to receive more like it in the future.